What if some of the things you call a woman's weakness are actually the very things that make her human? Men, let's be honest. Relationships become complicated when we think we already understand women. We notice certain behaviors, emotions, or reactions, give them a label, and suddenly we believe we have discovered a secret formula. But there is a problem. Women are not puzzles to solve. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 commonly observed vulnerabilities that some women may experience in relationships and everyday life. These are not universal truths, and they certainly do not apply to every woman. The goal is not to manipulate anyone, embarrass women, or use their vulnerabilities against them. Instead, this is about understanding human behavior better. Some women may struggle with seeking approval. Some may overthink situations. Others may find it difficult to communicate their feelings directly. Some may become attached to attention, while others may hide their emotions completely. And yes, men can experience these same things too. So, gentlemen, don't watch this looking for ammunition. Watch it looking for understanding. Because knowing someone's vulnerable points doesn't make you powerful. Knowing how to treat those vulnerable points with maturity does. And if you're a man who wants healthier relationships, you need to understand the difference between confidence and control, between attraction and manipulation, and between knowing someone deeply and taking advantage of them. So let's break down these 10 points in a simple, honest way, and you might recognize a few things you've seen in your own relationships. 1. The need for validation. Men, pay attention to this one because it can quietly affect relationships more than you realize. Some women may place a lot of importance on feeling appreciated, noticed, attractive, or valued. And before anyone misunderstands the point, men can have this need too. Humans naturally want reassurance from people they care about. The problem begins when validation becomes the foundation of someone's confidence. A woman might feel great when her partner compliments her, responds quickly, or shows affection. But if that attention suddenly disappears, she may start questioning herself. Did I do something wrong? Does he still like me? Am I not enough anymore? That is where insecurity can enter. Gentlemen, here's where you need to wake up. Don't confuse someone's need for reassurance with an opportunity to control them. If you notice that a woman constantly needs your approval, withholding affection to make her chase you isn't strength. It's manipulation. Instead, understand what healthy reassurance looks like. Tell her when you appreciate something about her. Be honest when something bothers you. Don't create unnecessary uncertainty just to test whether she cares. And men, here's some criticism for you. Sometimes you complain that women are too needy while giving mixed signals yourself. You disappear for days, communicate inconsistently, then act surprised when she becomes insecure. Consistency matters. At the same time, nobody should have to become another person's permanent source of self-worth. A healthy woman should be able to appreciate compliments without depending entirely on them. So the lesson isn't learn how to exploit her need for validation. The lesson is much simpler. Understand it. Don't abuse it. If you want a strong relationship, become the man who makes his intentions clear instead of the man who keeps someone emotionally confused just to feel powerful. 2. Overthinking. Small things. Gentlemen, here's something many men eventually discover. What seems small to you may not feel small to someone else. Some women may spend a lot of time analyzing conversations, messages, facial expressions, or changes in behavior. A simple okay can suddenly become a mystery. A delayed reply can create questions. A slightly different tone can make someone wonder whether something has changed. But don't immediately label this as irrational. Sometimes overthinking comes from uncertainty. Sometimes it comes from previous experiences. Sometimes a person simply has a naturally analytical personality. And yes, men can overthink too. The real issue is what happens when assumptions replace communication. A woman might think, he didn't text me this morning. Maybe he's losing interest. Meanwhile, the man might simply be busy. Now imagine both people reacting to assumptions instead of asking a simple question. One person becomes distant, the other becomes confused, and suddenly a problem exists that never needed to exist. Men, this is where you need to grow up. If you're genuinely interested in someone, don't deliberately create confusion and then criticize her for reacting to it. Playing mysterious games might look attractive in movies, but real relationships need clarity. At the same time, don't become responsible for answering every fear or insecurity someone has. Reassurance is healthy. Constantly proving yourself because someone refuses to trust you is different. The best approach is simple. Communicate clearly and watch patterns, not isolated moments. If something feels different, ask. If you're upset, say so. If you're busy, communicate it when reasonable. And if you're dating someone who constantly assumes the worst, encourage honest communication instead of feeding the cycle. Remember, gentlemen, you don't defeat overthinking by becoming more unpredictable. You defeat it through consistency, honesty, and mature communication. 3. Fear of rejection. Let's talk about something much deeper than most men realize: the fear of rejection. Some women may appear confident, independent, and completely unbothered, while secretly worrying about whether they're truly wanted or accepted. And again, this isn't exclusive to women. Men experience rejection anxiety too. But here's where relationships can become complicated. A woman might hesitate to make the first move because she doesn't want to be rejected. She may avoid asking a difficult question because she fears the answer. She may even pretend she doesn't care when, internally, she cares a lot. Men, you may have seen this before. Someone acts distant but still watches your reactions. Someone says it doesn't matter when it clearly matters. Someone wants reassurance but feels uncomfortable directly asking for it. Sometimes that's not manipulation. It can simply be fear. But here's the important part. Don't turn someone's fear of rejection into your advantage. If you discover that someone is afraid of losing you, don't deliberately threaten the relationship just to make them chase harder. That's not confidence, that's emotional manipulation. Instead, create an environment where honest communication is possible. If you aren't interested, be respectful and clear. If you are interested, don't make someone constantly guess. If something has changed, communicate it instead of creating unnecessary suspense. And men, here's something you need to hear. Rejection is part of life. You cannot build a healthy relationship by demanding that someone never disappoint you or disagree with you. A strong relationship allows both people to say yes, no, I need time, and I don't agree without fearing punishment. So don't look at fear of rejection as a weakness to exploit. Look at it as a reminder that confidence grows when people learn that rejection doesn't destroy their value. The strongest man isn't the one who knows how to make someone afraid of losing him. He's the one who makes honesty feel safe while still respecting his own boundaries. 4. Ignoring red flags. Gentlemen, sometimes the biggest mistake isn't choosing the wrong person. It's seeing the warning signs and convincing yourself they don't matter. Some women may occasionally ignore red flags because they're emotionally invested, hopeful that someone will change, or attracted to the good qualities they see in a person. But let's be fair, men do exactly the same thing. You meet someone you really like, and suddenly your brain starts negotiating with reality. She only did it once. She'll change. She had a difficult past. Maybe I can fix it. Before you know it, you're defending behavior you would normally tell your friend to run from. Men, this is where I want you to wake up. Don't criticize someone for ignoring red flags while you are doing the same thing yourself. Attraction can make intelligent people overlook obvious problems. Maybe you're impressed by someone's appearance. Maybe the chemistry is incredible. Maybe you don't want to start over with someone new. Whatever the reason, none of those things automatically make unhealthy behavior acceptable. And if you're dating a woman who constantly excuses disrespect, dishonesty, or unhealthy behavior from a partner, don't assume you can simply convince her to leave. People have to recognize their own patterns and make their own decisions. Your job is not to become her rescuer. Your job is to pay attention to behavior, not just promises. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, lies to you, manipulates situations, or refuses to take responsibility, don't keep explaining the same problem away because you're attracted to them. At the same time, don't label every disagreement a red flag. Nobody is perfect. People make mistakes. Apologize, learn, and improve. The real question is this an isolated mistake or is it a repeated pattern? Gentlemen, stop falling in love with potential while ignoring reality. You don't need to demonize someone to walk away from an unhealthy relationship. Sometimes maturity simply means saying, I like you, but this isn't good for me. 5. Emotional attachment. Gentlemen, here's a truth many men learn the hard way. Attention can create attachment faster than you expect. When two people spend a lot of time together, share personal stories, communicate constantly, and become emotionally comfortable with each other, feelings can naturally become stronger. Some women may become deeply emotionally attached once they feel understood and connected. But remember, men can experience exactly the same thing. The problem isn't attachment itself. The problem is losing yourself inside it. You might notice someone becoming extremely invested in a relationship. Their mood starts depending on how their partner behaves. A good morning can make their entire day better, while an argument can make everything feel terrible. That's when emotional attachment can become unhealthy. And men, don't make the mistake of thinking, if she's attached to me, I have all the power. No. If someone trusts you with their emotions, that should increase your responsibility, not your ego. Don't deliberately become distant just to make someone chase you. Don't use jealousy as a test. Don't threaten to leave every time you want attention. Those games might create temporary reactions, but they destroy genuine trust. At the same time, you need boundaries. Being someone's partner doesn't mean becoming their entire world. Both people should maintain friendships, interests, goals, and personal identity outside the relationship. If you're dating a woman who becomes emotionally dependent on you, encourage healthy independence rather than secretly enjoying the control it gives you. And gentlemen, be honest with yourselves too. If you become obsessed with someone's attention, constantly check your phone, or feel like your happiness depends entirely on one person, you're not necessarily experiencing true love. You may simply be losing balance. Healthy attachment says, I love having you in my life. Unhealthy attachment says, I don't know who I am without you. Know the difference. 6. Comparison with other women. Gentlemen, comparison can quietly destroy confidence, and social media has made it easier than ever. Some women may compare their appearance, relationships, careers, lifestyles, or achievements with other women. They might look at carefully edited pictures online and wonder why their own lives don't look the same. But here's something important. Men compare themselves too. The difference is that people don't always admit it. A woman might see another woman receiving attention and start questioning her own attractiveness. She might compare her relationship to someone else's seemingly perfect romance. She may even feel like she's falling behind because someone her age appears more successful. The problem is that comparison rarely gives you the full picture. You see the photograph, not the insecurity behind it. You see the vacation, not the debt. You see the happy couple, not the arguments happening behind closed doors. Gentlemen, if you're in a relationship, don't feed unnecessary comparisons. Constantly talking about other women's appearances or reminding your partner how attractive someone else is can create insecurity instead of trust. But don't go to the opposite extreme either. You shouldn't become someone's full-time confidence manager. Compliment your partner genuinely, appreciate her qualities, but remember that confidence ultimately has to come from within. And if you're dating someone who constantly compares herself to other women, don't mock her or tell her she's being ridiculous. Ask what is actually making her feel inadequate. Sometimes the issue isn't another woman, it's how she sees herself. Men, here's your lesson. Don't use comparison as a weapon. Don't say, other women would treat me better, just to provoke a reaction. Don't intentionally make someone jealous to prove that they care. That's childish. A mature relationship should make both people feel respected without requiring either person to compete for basic affection. Because at the end of the day, you don't build confidence by making someone feel better than another person. You build it by helping them understand that they don't need to compete at all. 7. Difficulty saying no. Gentlemen, here's a weakness that can cause serious problems when it's misunderstood. The difficulty some people have saying no. Some women may struggle to reject requests, disappoint someone, or create conflict. They may agree to things they don't actually want because they fear being judged, upsetting someone, or damaging a relationship. But let's be very clear, this isn't permission to take advantage of them. If someone struggles to say no, the mature response isn't to push harder, it's to make it easier for them to be honest. Men, this is where you need to check yourself. If you're asking for something and the other person seems uncomfortable, hesitant, or unsure, don't keep applying pressure until you get the answer you want. A reluctant yes isn't the same as genuine agreement. Healthy relationships require two people who can freely say yes or no without fear. And here's some criticism for men. Sometimes a man complains that a woman doesn't communicate, but when she finally says no, he becomes angry, sarcastic, or distant. Then he wonders why she stops being honest. You can't demand honesty while punishing someone for giving you an answer you don't like. If you want a woman to communicate openly, demonstrate that you can handle boundaries maturely. The same principle applies emotionally. Maybe she doesn't want to discuss something immediately. Maybe she needs space. Maybe she isn't interested in continuing a relationship. You don't have to agree with every decision, but you should respect her right to make it. And women should also work on this themselves. Learning to say no is an important life skill. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to explain every boundary for it to be valid. So, gentlemen, don't look at someone's difficulty saying no as an opportunity. Look at it as a reason to become more respectful. Real confidence isn't getting someone to agree with you, it's being comfortable when they don't. 8. Wanting consistent attention. Gentlemen, let's talk about something that can create unnecessary confusion in relationships: the desire for consistent attention. Some women may strongly value regular communication, affection, compliments, and quality time. When that attention suddenly disappears, they may wonder whether something has changed. But let's be fair, men want attention too. The difference is that people express that need differently. For one woman, a simple good morning message might feel meaningful. Another may value spending an hour together without phones. Someone else may simply want to know that her partner is still interested. None of that automatically makes someone needy. The problem begins when attention becomes the only measure of love. If someone expects constant texting, immediate replies, or nonstop reassurance, maintaining that expectation can become exhausting. A healthy relationship needs space as well as connection. Men, however, need to stop using "I'm just busy" as an excuse for consistently poor communication. If you're interested in someone, basic consideration isn't difficult. You don't need to text every 5 minutes, but disappearing without explanation, repeatedly canceling plans, or becoming affectionate only when you want something can naturally create uncertainty. And here's the important part: don't intentionally withdraw attention to make someone chase you. Some men believe ignoring a woman will increase attraction. Sometimes it simply creates confusion and resentment. If you need space, communicate it. If you're busy, say so. If your feelings have changed, be honest. And if someone requires more attention than you're comfortable giving, that's not necessarily a battle. It may simply mean your communication styles are different. Gentlemen, remember this: consistency is not the same as constant availability. You can have your own life while still showing someone that they matter. The healthiest relationships aren't built around nonstop attention. They're built around reliable attention, the kind that makes both people feel valued without making either person feel controlled. Give attention freely, not strategically, and expect the same respect in return. 9. Hiding true feelings. Gentlemen, here's one that can be difficult to recognize. Sometimes people don't say what they actually feel. Some women may hide disappointment, sadness, attraction, anger, or insecurity because they don't want to appear vulnerable. They may say, "I'm fine," even when something is clearly bothering them. But before you blame women for this, look in the mirror. Men do it too. Many men are taught to hide emotions, avoid difficult conversations, or pretend that nothing affects them. So emotional silence isn't a female weakness, it's a human habit. Still, it can create serious problems in relationships. Imagine someone is upset about something you did, but instead of explaining it, they become distant. You ask what's wrong and hear nothing. Now you're expected to understand a problem that hasn't been communicated. That's not healthy. Gentlemen, don't turn this into a guessing game. You shouldn't have to decode every facial expression, but you should pay attention when someone's behavior changes. Instead of immediately becoming defensive, try asking calmly, "You seem different. Is something bothering you?" Then actually listen. Don't interrupt. Don't immediately explain why they're wrong. Don't turn their feelings into an argument. Sometimes people open up when they feel that they're going to be heard rather than judged. At the same time, women also have responsibility here. Your partner isn't a mind reader. If something matters to you, eventually you need to communicate it clearly. Silent treatment, hidden expectations, and emotional tests don't create intimacy. And men, here's where you need to wake up. Stop rewarding emotional games while complaining about them. If someone refuses to communicate directly, don't spend weeks chasing clues and trying to fix everything yourself. Healthy communication requires effort from both sides. The goal isn't to force someone to reveal everything immediately, it's to create a relationship where both people eventually feel safe enough to say what they actually mean. Because sometimes the strongest sentence in a relationship isn't, I'm fine. It's, I'm hurt, and I need you to understand why. 10. Fear of losing someone. Gentlemen, this final one is powerful because fear can completely change how someone behaves in a relationship. Some women may become deeply afraid of losing someone they love. They may worry about being abandoned, replaced, or forgotten. And once again, let's be fair, men can experience exactly the same fear. The problem isn't loving someone deeply. The problem begins when fear becomes stronger than self-respect. Someone might tolerate behavior they normally wouldn't accept because they're terrified that setting a boundary will end the relationship. They may constantly seek reassurance or become overly focused on keeping the other person happy. But gentlemen, don't take advantage of that fear. If you know someone is afraid of losing you, threatening to leave whenever you want control isn't confidence, it's manipulation. A mature man doesn't need to keep someone terrified of abandonment to maintain their interest. Instead, he communicates clearly. If you're committed, demonstrate it through consistent behavior. If you're unhappy, discuss the problem. If the relationship genuinely isn't working, have the courage to be honest instead of keeping someone emotionally trapped in uncertainty. And women have responsibility too. Love shouldn't require you to abandon your dignity, values, friendships, ambitions, or boundaries. If you're constantly thinking, what can I do so this person won't leave me? You may have forgotten to ask a more important question. Is this relationship actually good for me? That's the question everyone should ask, because losing a relationship can hurt, but losing yourself just to keep a relationship alive can hurt even more. Gentlemen, understand this distinction. You want someone to stay because they genuinely choose you, not because they're terrified of what happens if they leave. And if someone decides to walk away, respect their decision. Real love isn't about possessing someone. It's about building something strong enough that both people willingly choose to remain. That is the kind of connection worth protecting.